1.3 is short. It's called composition of functions. So your mind is about to be a little blown because think about a function inside of a function. It's just like mind blown. So this is not fog right here. You don't say this as fog. You would, if I were to write this out, you would say f of g of x is how you pronounce it.
F of g of x?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So here I have three functions. We're going to start out a little easy. We're just going to plug 2 into all of them. So as a little warm-up, let's just plug 2 into f, g, and h.
So once do we combine them all together?
No, not yet. We're not done. We're not.
Okay, just say not yet.
Not yet. So 12, 1.
Which equation are you doing it to? There's like 4 up there.
F, G, and H right here.
Okay, so like if it has an F in front of it, you're going to plug it in.
Plug it into the F. If it has a G in front of it, I'm plugging it into the G. And if it has an H in front of it, I'm going to plug it into the H.
Oh, write it out so I remember.
Yes.
That this is what we're doing. Oh, I did.
So I'm plugging into to F, I'm plugging into to G, and I'm plugging into to H, and I get 12, 1, 12. Okay? So I just have to look at the letter in front to know which function it's going into. Yes?
For C, it's 12 because you don't put the exponent with the...
Perfect. Yeah. So the squared only goes to the x. And I do that first, so then it becomes 3 times 4. Are we good with that? Yeah? Okay, next thing gets a little bit trickier. Here we have
It's including elements of the weather. Like,
fog. F of g of x. So anytime you see it in this notation, I'm automatically going to change it to look like this. Okay, so cross this out. Well, I want you to know what it is, but I'm going to rewrite it like this. And so what that means is, first of all, I'm going to substitute this g of x. Go back to the top. What is g of x? 3x minus 5. So I'm going to rewrite this as, so step 2 is f of 3x minus 5. So all I did was I substituted g of x for 3x minus 5. So you're it's like a 2-step problem. So that's why I say it's a function inside a function, because I'm putting g of x in. Now I'm going to go to f of x, which is 5x plus 2. And I'm going to substitute, like we did in the last section. We already did this, right? I'm going to substitute in 3x minus 5 everywhere I see an x. So 5 times 3x minus 5 plus 2. We okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Then 15x So if you need to, I have found that if you just kind of sit and stare at it for a second, it'll click. So you just need that light bulb moment, and then it will come to you, and you'll be able to do this in your sleep. You just need that light bulb moment.
enlighten me, please.
Okay.
There it is. There it is.
Math I can do all day. Okay, so normally.
Okay. So with the light bulb moment that you've already had, I want you to try B.
Explain that, because I'm struggling.
Okay, so let me start from the beginning before you try B on your own. I changed it to f of g of x. That is the way that it is written. Then I'm going from the inside to the outside. So with these functions, you work inside to outside.
So we change into the F.
Yes. So if I work inside to outside, I'm gonna substitute my g of x with what g of x is at the top, because it's already defined it for me. So I substituted g of x for 3x minus 5. And I just put it in my parentheses. Now, working inside to outside, so I'm gonna plug in everywhere in my function f now. I'm gonna plug that in here, because the function f is 5x plus 2, right? So I'm going to substitute this with the 3x minus 5. Mm-hmm.
How did we get from f of g of x to putting the g x in the parentheses?
So I substituted this with the function that it gave me at the top.
No. Before that.
Oh, this?
Yes.
That's what, this is just a different notation.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and change it to that because I don't want to leave it in this notation.
Okay.
Same here. I'm going to write this as fh of x. And it's the same thing. This one's already changed for me. So try B. I'm going to go ahead and put the answer. Okay, so with C, I'm going to replace, it's going to be f of 3x squared. And the function f is 5x plus 2. So 3x squared plus 2. Then when I distribute, 15x squared plus 2. This, like I said, it just kind of takes some practice. Once you get that light bulb moment, I promise you, you're going to be able to do it for everything. Like once it clicks, it's going to be just rote memorization, and you will get it. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite this. We don't leave it as fog. We write it as what? F of g of 2. Now, you still work inside to outside. So I'm going to do my inside first, and I'm going to find what g of 2 is. I already did that in 1b, didn't I? 1b was g of 2. And what is g of 2? 1. But I'm going to go ahead and write it out anyway. G of 2 is 3 times 2 minus 5, which is 1. So now I'm going to take this 1, and I'm going to substitute it. So now I'm going to find what f of 1 is. Like I said, work inside to outside. So I found g of 2, that was 1. Now I replaced it. F of 1 is 5 times 1 plus 2, which is 7. So my final answer is 7.
Okay, wait, so we know that the g of 2 is 1, but why do we switch to the f?
Because we're working inside to outside.
Oh, so after we...
So it's like a two-step process. I got to find g of 2. I found that. It's 1. I replaced it. Now I got to find f of 1.
So like g is to 2 is f is to g?
Kind of. You're just working inside to outside. So once you find the g, you substitute it. Then you got to find the f.
Okay, I think I get it.
Okay. So try B. Gonna give you the answer. So with B, we already found, we work inside to outside, so f of 1 we found here was 7. Helping you out by giving you some that we've already done. So I replaced it with 7. G of 7, 3 times 7 minus 5, which gives me 16. Okay, try C. You're gonna get a kind of big number.
Oh, no.
So if you just leave it as the substituted version, I won't make you find it by hand. Okay, are we okay with C? Just getting easier? The more practice you have with it, the easier.
No.
Okay, now we're just going to do one last thing with graphs. So this is all algebraically. Now we're going to look at a graph and do the same thing. So here we have, I'm going to zoom out just a tad. I'm going to highlight, and you can if you want, just to make sure that you can keep track with what is F and what is G. Because sometimes you'll see them with 3 different pictures.
Let's do the lighter one first.
So for part A, we have, and we haven't seen this notation yet, F plus G of -1. All that means is F of -1 plus G of -1. It's just simplifying it for you. So, remember from the last section, F of -1 means that I'm going to go to X of -1, and F is at what? Or what is, sorry, the Y. I think I said X. What is Y? -2. And where is my G? G of -1 is 1. So how I got that is I went to my X, like take them both separately, like we did in the last section. Y'all were awesome at that. I'm going to go to X equals -1. I'm going to find where my F is. I'm going to find where my G is.
So is our final answer?
Wait, shouldn't that be -1?
Yes, is our final answer?
Your final answer is -1.
So how could we use this? Like, is that an average between the points, or is it
Just combining them.
Oh,
it doesn't give us anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
What is the practical application of this?
Yes, that's what I just asked.
Oh, calculus.
What is the practical application of that?
If you want to be an engineer or something mathematical, lots of applications. Okay, for B, also problem solving skills. I feel really smart when I do these kinds of problems because it's a little bit mind blowing. You're like, how am I doing this? But you understand it. Okay, for B, I'm going to rewrite this as F of 4 times G of 4. Because it's like an imaginary multiplication sign in the middle. So let's go to F of 4. What is the Y value? 3. Go to G of 4. What's the Y value? 1. 3 times 1, 3.
Please tell me this is our homework.
It's like it. Okay, let's go to the last ones and then we're almost done. So try C. I'm going to rewrite it as F of -2 minus G of -2. They both touch at the same point, so it's 0 because they intersect. Okay, these are the most fun, in my opinion. You're going to, for D, E, and F, you're going to use your knowledge and skills to work inside to outside. So let's take the G of 6 first and not even worry about the F. Take your hand and cover up the F. Just cover it up right now. We're not looking at it. We're not concerned with the F just yet. So cover this up. I don't want him. Cover him up. We'll need him in a second, but not right now. What is G of 6? -1. Now, I'm going to add the F back in. What is F of -1? -2. That is my final answer.
What was the last step you did?
So I covered up the F and I just did G of 6 by itself.
So G of 6 is
G of 6 is -1, so I replaced it. Then I looked at the F, and I did F of -1, which gave me -2. So you're looking at 2 points on the graph.
Are you multiplying those?
Nope. It's like work inside to outside. So I'm literally substituting the G of 6, and it now becomes -1. Now I'm going to go to my F function, and I'm going to find what is my Y value at F of -1. So E, I'm going to rewrite it as what? G of F of 4. Cover up the G. I don't want it right now. Cover it up. Don't want it. F of 4 is? Yes. G of 3 is?
Oh.
2.
Oh, I see.
G of 3 is 2.
This is G1 instead of G3.
Okay.
B, isn't it the same?
B. What about B? No, because there's no. Wait, what's your question?
Wouldn't it be set up the same as B?
No, because there's a little O, that little O in the middle means that it's a composition and it's inside. If there's no little O, then it's multiplication. Okay, last one. Try F on your own. I'm going to give you the answer. Okay, so for F, you get 2. Now, if you understand this, then you can turn your brain off and don't worry about it. If you don't, I want you to dial in for the next minute and a half. So, I'm going to go back to my graph. Let's do E again. So E was G of F of 4. Okay, so my first step, I'm going to work inside to outside. So cover up the G. I'm going to mark through it right now. I'm just doing the inside. Cover up the G. F of 4 is when I go to my graph, and I go over to 4, and I go to my F graph, which is this one, and my point is at 3. So are we okay with saying that F of 4 equals 3? So I'm just going to replace it. F of 4 goes away, and I replace it with a 3. Now the G comes back into play. We can bring him back. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to X equals 3. So take my pen, go to 3, and my G function is right here at 2. So my final answer is 2. So work inside to outside.